It's been a wonderful. Last week I was talking to you a little bit out loud, just not here, but of saying, be careful what you ask for. Because as the weeks went by, I was formulating that I was going to talk about losing control because that was what kind of was starting to happen. And I was feeling like everything was difficult, and everyone I was talking to was having the same experience. And I'm here to tell you that the Spirit provides. Yesterday morning in my email, I got the video that we're going to show you. And we added it to the service. It's a little different way. If you're a visual learner, I think this will be wonderful. So we're going to watch that first, and then we're going to talk about losing control.
What y'all didn't see, I believe this is the one where there's a male bear that's after them.
Oh, that wasn't it. This was the piece, that I got. But, but anybody ever feel like that? Wow. Well, it just struck me as so illustrative of what we're talking about today, because, it's life can be a struggle, and that little guy or girl just kept trying, and I think I'm going to start referring to God as Mama Bear, because the little one's just looking up and the mama's looking down, and they just keep going, and there's a way, and that's where we get to sometimes in life. We just have to keep on going, even when we don't know for sure. So, the month of January, Unity focuses on the power of faith. I don't think we really talked about it, but I've been coming face to face with some challenges that felt like that power of faith was something that I needed to explore. And they weren't the big challenges in life that we usually associate with needing faith. It wasn't health issues that were life-threatening. It was just stupid little health issues that just wouldn't go away. And every remedy I tried made things worse. And then, there's more subtle issues like changes in the ground that a friendship was based on, or changes I had to face because of somebody else's decision, and changes in some things that had long been a part of my routine but suddenly didn't seem to work anymore. So I saw others doing the same thing. I saw everyone I've talked to recently has said, I'm really irritable because this happened and this happened. And nothing was life-threatening or anything, but it's difficult sometimes, isn't it? And we wonder where Mama Bear is. So all this caused me to examine my feelings about faith and around these situations and the uneasiness that they bring, that feeling of loss of control. Does anybody else find that one of the most disconcerting feelings that can arise? I got one. Well, we like to think we have things figured out. And we like to feel that we're in control. And in the situations I was facing, I began to realize I had to let go. I had to surrender. Don't you just hate that word? So it can be a challenging journey, and when something comes our way that shakes the ground that we stand on, what is it we have to do? We have to seek a new way. That brings us into the uncertainty. So as I've been pondering all this over the last several weeks, I came across a poem called The Real Work by Wendell Berry. And this is what it says. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we've come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. Immediately when I read that, I saw the possibility in the situations I was facing, and I gained hope. Sri Aurobindo, who was an Indian philosopher, said, "The spiritual journey is one of continually falling on your face, getting up, brushing yourself off, looking sheepishly at God, and taking another step." If you Google Aurobindo, you will find that he's described as an Indian nationalist who joined the Indian movement for independence from British rule. For a while, he became one of the most influential leaders, and then he became a spiritual reformer. He introduced his visions on human progress and spiritual evolution. Reading that reminded me of Martin Luther King Jr., who we celebrated last month. And I found an article online about Martin Luther King Jr.'s early years. It's told how he finished high school and had gone to college at the age of only 15. While at Morehouse College in Atlanta, he served on the Intercollegiate Council, which was an integrated group. The article quoted Dr. King as saying, "I was ready to resent the whole white race, but as I got to see more of white people, my resentment was softened, and a spirit of cooperation took its place." I was just amazed at even at his young age, and it was probably around 1946. He found the possibility in seeing things a different way. That says something about his heart, doesn't it? He had been raised in the South, and He hadn't seen a different way, but something in him sparked that possibility. Can you even imagine how challenging that was for him as a young boy to open up and go against everything that he'd experienced and was raised in and say, there's another way? It must have taken a lot of courage. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about today. Developing our ability to shift our comfortable perceptions, the way things have always been, about dealing with our lives, and to open to a new vision and a new way. In exploring these times in life, it requires an inner adjustment. And what I've come to call those inner adjustments is our transitions of the heart. We all know about transition in life. The adjustment to a move, the adjustment to a deep loss, so many things. And those certainly require the heart. But this is an inner transition we're talking about today. It requires an adjustment in the way we look at life. So what strategies do we need to develop in order to traverse these waters? One, I think, is going slowly. Being willing to not know. Just that can strike dread into most of us. Being willing not to know. One of my favorite authors, Tammy Keeves, said, "It's not a pill, it's a pilgrimage." Be easier if it was a pill, wouldn't it? We've grown to like those quick fixes, haven't we? But the transitions of the heart require us to be present in the moment and to allow ourselves to be schooled by Spirit. She also says this, in yoga, the slower you move, the stronger you become. It's true of life transitions too. If you don't push things and rush into them, you build heat and an inner relationship with yourself that can strengthen you and move you through transitions of the heart. The point of transition isn't to get somewhere else. It's to become someone else. To me, that someone else is someone more flexible in the art of loving. And then we need the power of faith. Faith, Martin Luther King Jr. said, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. A Buddhist friend of mine said to me once, be grounded in groundlessness. And that's what arose for me as I examined what we need when we face these situations. To me, it's another way to look at faith, grounded in groundlessness, knowing that even what we thought was certain becomes uncertain. We know that there is a power that holds us steady. This is not an easy place to be. We want to fix things. We want to hurry up and put together a plan. We got some steps to put our feet on, and there's nothing wrong with a plan. We're hungry for certainty, though, and to just patch together a plan, so it often fails. We're too anxious for answers. We aren't building a strong foundation. Just like building a structure, we need a strong foundation to hold that whatever's coming, whatever's developing and growing in us. So it's okay to not feel okay. That's on the commercials now. It's okay to not feel okay. We need to employ the power of the heart. Each of us is unique, and it's important that we become intimately connected with our heart, because in our heart is the only place that our path is revealed. I know if you're like me, you've spent a lot of time reading this book, watching that video, attending that class, turning to this friend. What do I do? And those things are all wonderful and helpful. But the real solidity comes when we look in our hearts for the wisdom that is true for us, that is true, that works for our lives. And I came upon this book, no one will be surprised, The Power of the Heart. And I'm not sure I'm saying his name right, but Baptiste de Pop is how I think it's said. And he was in a situation in his life. He studied many years to become an attorney. He had all the support of his family and friends. And he got to the end of that journey. And all of a sudden, he's like, what am I doing? And it didn't feel right anymore. We invest all this energy into something, and then all of a sudden, we don't know where we are. And that happened to him. So he just graduated from law school, and he had a lucrative offer from one of the world's most prestigious law firms. And at the last moment, he decided not to sign. He started to ask himself, what do I really want from life? He'd spent all these years preparing, and suddenly it all seemed wrong. He felt lost. He felt worried about his future. And one night, unable to sleep, he got up and began watching YouTube videos. He happened upon a web class with Oprah Winfrey and Eckhart Tolle about awakening to your life's purpose. And he asked himself, is this what I'm going through? Am I trying to awaken to my life's purpose? He writes that in the moment he asked the question, he felt a powerful impulse from his heart, one he'd never felt before. He felt his heart was responding to the questions. When he turned his attention back to the video, Toll was saying that it's fine to ask yourself what you want from life, but a far more important question might be, what does life want from you? Toll went on to say that it's necessary to allow moments of silence in your life in order to escape the mental noise we call thinking and hear the direction from within. Baptiste de Pop took this very seriously, and the next day he went for a long walk in the woods, and he allowed himself to just be in that silence. In that silence, he said he experienced a peace that he'd never known before, a relief from all his thoughts, all his anxiety. And he realized he was very afraid to accept that he didn't want to be a lawyer. He was also afraid to disappoint his parents, who had been so proud of him and supportive of his career choice. He stood still, and in that newfound peace, he said that he asked the question, what does life want from me? In that moment, he felt again a powerful impulse in his heart, even stronger than one he'd felt the night before. And he knew, and he began to cry. He saw suddenly that his purpose was to explore the power of the heart that had taken hold of him. The result was that he did not go into being a lawyer. He sought out spiritual teachers, writers, and thinkers, and he asked them all for their insights on the power of the heart. He created a movie and this book, which is full of insights from many prominent spiritual teachers. You probably recognize most of them. It's filled with quotes and spiritual giants speaking their truth, and it can offer us guidance for our own hearts. That place that we can turn when we feel life is shaking our roots, when we feel that loss of control. And think of that little bear looking up, looking up, never giving up, just trying another path, another path. When old routines that used to comfort us begin to fail, the place of direction is within. The language of the heart is the highest communication. Yet in order to hear it, we must open, surrender, and allow. We must quietly listen. We must be willing to try another way. And as my bracelet says, not to spoil the ending, but everything is going to be all right. Another gift from my daughter. So just with that in mind, let's just now move into that silence. Center yourself physically, spiritually, emotionally, by taking a deep breath. Releasing. And at your own pace, do that 2 more times. And as you inhale, receive light. And as you exhale, release everything that came before. Just come to the center. If your mind wanders, just ignore it and come back to the light at the center of your being. See yourself in a forest. You've been there many times before, and suddenly you're not sure the path. But you again take a deep breath. You affirm that mother bear strength and wisdom guiding you. Show me the way. And begin to walk. A little unsteady at first. Finding the right footholds. You move more and more deeply into the silence of this beautiful place. The further you go, you not only begin to feel a confidence and begin to feel a light guiding you, all the while you still are recognizing that this is new. And you're a little nervous, a little anxious, but you know in your heart you will never be let down. There is always a way. So you continue. You continue to move. You continue to walk. As you do, you relax a little more into this new place. You begin to feel your energy open. You start to notice in the distance what looks like a flickering light. So you cautiously step forward and walk toward that. With each step, the light increases. With each step, you release your attachments to what was before. You release your attachments to the people, to the places, to the ideas that had served you in the past but are no longer there. And as you walk, that light increases and intensifies. You suddenly come to a place where you know that light is radiating from within your own heart. Everything you need is provided for you. Your faith is strengthened. Your heart expands. And you expand into a greater expression of the God energy that you are. Just sit in that moment, in that knowing. Breathing in, breathing out. This is a moment of gratitude for the love that is always there for you, that is always guiding you. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mama Bear. Thank you to all. And so it is. Amen.